By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to go from being scattered and stuck in your business to growing your business overnight as a financial planner. Now, the problem is that you're stuck in survival mode. You're stuck there not because you're bad at marketing, it's just that you're stuck there because you're probably implementing marketing strategies at the wrong time. When you implement the wrong strategies at the wrong time, you're not going to grow, you're not going to get consistency, and you're not going to get predictable cash flow, which I'm sure that's what you want. And also, you're going to end up with a spiral of stress because you're going to think that, hey, I'm not generating leads. I just don't feel good enough about myself. You lose the confidence. And, that's no way of running your business today. I'm sure what you want is predictable cash flow, consistent cash flow. You want to break free from the shackles of anything holding you back. That's holding you back in terms of self-confidence, that self-doubt that creeps in, and the imposter syndrome that a lot of financial planners feel a lot of times. So just so you know, it's kind of normal. But also, I'm sure you're looking for just a much easier way to build the business you want and create the lifestyle that you want. So today, let's address some of those things today and help get you on the right path. See, the first thing you need to know, it's not your fault. You haven't been shown how to grow your business with confidence. You're probably operating in what I call an old school mindset where they've told you just go do networking, go to networking events, get your reps up, get confident, and then you start building the business. Unfortunately, that just takes a lot of time, a lot of energy. And when you add up the cost to do something like that, it's actually quite a lot of money. And so it gets really difficult to, if you keep staying stuck in the survival mode, to actually get yourself out of it and to create the business that you want. Because you end up with, bad habits, negative thinking, and it's just that loop of just, how do I do this? How do I do this? And you start doubting yourself. And like I said, a lot of financial planners end up going and working for someone else after 3 years, basically, because they haven't built the business they want. So I want to share with you firstly the three stages that I believe that most financial planners kind of go into, like three buckets. So let's talk about them right now before I give you the exact three steps that you need to grow your business. So the first bucket is what I call survival stage. You're generally doing, let's say around $10,000 a month at best. Most of the people that I'm speaking to are doing around about $6,000 to $8,000 a month, and even that is a stretch for a lot of people. They just don't feel like they're generating that on a consistent basis, putting a lot of stress on their savings and everything else that they're putting off holidays. They've got kids, families to feed, and things like that. So being in that survival state is never good. But once you start getting over the what I call the $15,000 mark, is what I call the growing stage. So growing stage is from 15 to $50,000 a month. That is when you have totally different strategies and a totally different outlook on life and in business. And then for those that are kind of going over $50,000, that's what I call thriving. You probably have a small team, two or three people in the team that is supporting you in growing that business. So they're the kind of three levels. But today I want to really focus in on survival mode because I know that a lot of financial planners that are watching this right now are in that state where they're completely stressed out, just don't have the income. And so as much as you're posting it and you're putting a brave face in front of the camera and in your content, deep down, I know that you're struggling. So let's get you out of that. First and foremost, a lot of financial planners are, when I say in survival mode, they're relying on referrals. They're relying on playing this long game that everyone keeps telling you to play. And let me just tell you, that's so wrong. And it's wrong for so many ways because when you play the long game and you're not getting results, you get into that spiral. But those that I've worked with that have been able to, take that leap and go that little bit further, they change their life overnight. And it's not because they got a whole bunch of leads coming in overnight. It's because the way they built their business up and they got the confidence to get themselves out there. When you have the confidence to get yourself out there, everything changes. So, what I want to focus on today is a concept that I call scale your impact. And there's three key areas that I want to focus in on. The first and foremost is mindset. Now, I'm not just talking about having a positive mindset. I'm not talking about, putting on Tony Robbins listing, get all pumped up in the morning and, get in front of your computer and start. That's not the mindset I'm talking about. Yes, positivity is awesome. It's really good that if you've got some sort of routine like that. But what I really want to focus on, and this comes from um, my most successful clients that I've worked with. My most successful clients put their growth, that's, their how big they've grown their firm and how quickly they've grown the firm down to this thing called mission. They focus more on their mission over their vision. Now, let me just give you a bit of context around that. So, vision is great because this is what you want, and you can see that amazing opportunity. Maybe 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the track, where you're building a massive business and having so much revenue coming in. You think, oh, this is brilliant. That's all vision, but that is really driven from what I call an ego state. It's driven from your head, and you've probably got those ideas from maybe you've maybe worked with someone who's built a business, and now you stepped up on your own. But that is vision. It's really mixed up with your past behaviors, experience, and habits. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having a vision. I think it's important to have a vision of where you're going, but the more important thing is the mission. When you focus on your mission, you lead with your heart-led businesses where you're there, providing and serving people with love and making sure that they win and you can help them transform their lives, not just their money, but their lives. That's what's going to drive your business so much quicker and bigger. Like I said, most of my clients that have had massive growth really quickly is because they've led with their heart. And when you lead with your heart, you start attracting clients rather than chasing clients. And that's a really important thing because when you build a business around you and you're sharing everything that you're doing and hoping to help them get the result that they want, they are going to be drawn towards you. So you start attracting people rather than just getting up on social media, just talking about things and really chasing clients. The other key part of mindset is around being authentic. It's so important that when you lean into who you truly are, you create this person that everyone wants to be part of. They want to, I know for me, the biggest shift for me is when stopped trying to be this marketing guy and all of a sudden led with my heart and talk more about the transformation, talk more about the transformation that I've made for clients. A really good example of one of my clients was he recently in Barcelona with her husband and son. We caught her for lunch, and her husband turned around to me and said, "Hey, you've done an amazing work with her, and we've seen this massive change. She's got so much more confidence, and she's more authentic in all her videos and her everything she's putting out there, and she seems a lot happier. When you show up as your most authentic self." And I know for a lot of people, it's actually uncomfortable being who you are because you think you've got to put on this face mask and get in front of all these people. But when you serve from authenticity, it all starts attracting towards you. The other key thing about mindset is moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. So most um, abundant mindset people are a lot more caring. They know that what they're doing right now is going to help create the business that they want, create the lifestyle that they want. And the only way to move out of that is to really understand where you're giving your energy. When I say your energy, your mental energy towards. If you keep focusing on negativity and the lack of having certain things in life, unfortunately, you're going to draw a lot of that back to you. And what I've learned is that with a scarcity mindset, you have it maybe because you have some self-doubt and you have some fear. But when you can kind of break that prison that you're in right now and break through that and go to the other side where there's freedom, everything changes. And then let me tell you something. You look back and go, hold on, that wasn't so bad. That was actually quite easier than I thought it was, and I actually feel really good about myself. You started to expand your comfort zone and really be who you are again. So when you get out of that scarcity mindset towards an abundant mindset, you start attracting. That energy is different. You're putting out different types of content rather than your normal education type content. So one of the things I do, I know, I'm just going to quickly mention it in my program with my clients for the first 2 weeks is all we focus on is creating the right mindset to growing the business. When you get the confidence to grow your business, everything changes. Okay. So key part of mindset is the authenticity, having a mission over vision, purpose in terms of driving your business forward, and also being more of an abundant mindset over a scarcity mindset. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is marketing. So in order to grow your business, like I mentioned before, a lot of people do the wrong tactics at the wrong time. So what you want is the right tactics to get you lead flow, get your clients, and get your revenue coming through on a continuous basis. But how do you go about doing it? So there's three things I want to break this down to. One is credibility. You need to identify your ideal audience And then what you need to do is become the niche to that audience. When I say become the niche, the way you become the niche is by truly understanding your prospects and the market's needs and wants. Find out what their frustrations are, what are their fears, and actually dig really deep into that. When you lean into that, you can then start building a blueprint for your business around that ideal audience where you are the actual niche. So there's a concept I always talk about called become the niche, and that's basically where you want to be going. Just so you know, a lot of the top entrepreneurs these days focus on that. It's all about them providing the value and attracting people. When you become the niche, you attract again the right people. All right, so that's credibility. The second part of it is connection. And the way to build connection is to create heartfelt content and also get that content out, not just organically, but through running paid ads. And ads these days is so much more cheaper than a few years ago. So you want to be running ads to attract more people, get your message out there, and start building a community around you. When you have the right people connecting into your community, you can then nurture that community and then asking people and inviting them into your world as a client. I've just made a couple of notes here to make sure that I share everything with you. That's why you see my eyes going down. And the other third part of marketing is the conversion part. Conversion part is where you move people from your community into conversation. This is run through direct messages. Now you got, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Instagram. There's a number of different ways you can actually have a conversation with someone to see if they're the right fit. And if they're the right fit in terms of you can help them out, they're the right type of clients, they're willing to spend the money, then you can move them into having a phone call or a webinar or something like that into the next stage, whatever your sales process is. And then when you have the conversation, and I say this to my clients, the aim is to have 3 conversations a day. When you have 3 conversations a day, let's say that's 15 for the week, that's 60 for the month. Those conversations are going to go deeper and deeper as you keep continuing and nurturing those conversations every month. Then you're going to be signing clients regardless, right? Even at let's say a 10% success, that would be 6. That's probably too much for a lot of people. Let's take it down even further to 5% to even 3 clients every month. That's pretty good just from doing a half an hour chat conversations with people. Pretty simple, right? All right, so that's the 2 things that I've just covered, which is mindset and marketing. And the last thing that you need to grow your business and get from being stuck to really growing it overnight is momentum. You need to implement strategies and without automation. And here's the thing, most people go straight into automating everything, whether it's chat, it's email, or anything like that. You don't want to be doing that. If you're in survival mode, you've got time. What you need to do is create the reps. It's like going to the gym. You need to do the reps in order to get the muscle. It's the same exact thing. You want to get the volume in and then learn from that and keep tweaking it. Only once you pass that $15,000 a month revenue target, then you can start looking at automation. But before that, keep it very simple because you want to have direct conversations with people and you actually come across much more authentic to helping your clients. Excuse me here. I'm super hot in Barcelona at the moment. So doing the right things consistently is going to help you build your business. Now, people say, "Oh, I'm consistent with when it comes to social media." I look at their social media profile. I see maybe 1 video every week. That's not consistent enough. You want to be doing maybe 3 to 4 quality types of videos every week, or some sort of written content piece. You got to choose your style, but create the momentum, create the consistency to give you the momentum. So they're the 3 things that I believe you need to actually help grow your business. And I'm going to just recap it again. So one is you need mindset. And if you keep focusing on your mission over your vision, you will definitely attract the right type of people for your business. Next, you need to have marketing. And the 3 parts of marketing you need is credibility, connection, and conversion. And the last part, which is the last M, which is momentum, is just to be consistently doing what you need to do. Now, here's the thing. You can start working on this all by yourself. Totally understand that. And I would highly recommend you check out my videos that I've done here on YouTube and also Instagram, where I go into a bit more detail on how you can scale your impact. When you focus on your impact, you will create the business and lifestyle you've always wanted. Stop focusing on the vanity metrics of going viral, getting heaps of likes and heaps of followers. But when you focus on impact, you'll go much more deeper and you really will be touching people's hearts. So, hey, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you got something out of it. Please leave a comment below what you found most useful and please subscribe and speak to you soon.